Here we have page 11, immediately following the OCR process. The first step for me is to scan the spreadsheet to see if we have any cells that are merged. Looking through this sheet here, I do not see any merged cells. However, we do have some cells here that have had their orientation changed. It is possible to rotate cells, but it's just as fast to copy a good cell over the bad ones using, on the Home tab, the fill down command, and then checking to see that the gender matches. Sarah is female. Gordon, well, that's clearly male. Minnie, female. Joseph, male. Mary Jane, female. Callista, female. That looks corrected. There are a few minor things here that would need to be fixed up. One that comes immediately to mind is this cell. Probably a spot of ink on the page got picked up in the OCR process. Now, there may well be some individual spelling errors that need to be corrected, so each cell needs to be checked. Some other things that I would do to this cell, for example, these occupations don't need to be capitalized. To change those, I'm going to make certain that I'm in the first record, and I'm going to use a formula equals lower. Bracket, this is H1, the cell is H1 with the first entry, and we'll hit enter. Lower H1 produces yeoman with a lowercase letter. We're now going to fill down that formula in this column all the way to the bottom of this set of records. Again, we'll use home and fill down. Before we do anything, and while these are still selected, hit Control C to copy that column. Go to the top, check to make sure you're in cell H1 where they begin. Right click, left click on Paste Special, and left click again on Values. Click OK, and we've now copied the values from this column into this column. This column can now be deleted with a right click and a left click on Delete. One other change that I would make in this is that I want to separate the surnames and the given names. To do that, I need to create a couple of blank columns just in case, because I'm going to be copying stuff. There was a right click on that and a left click on Insert, and I've inserted two blank columns. I'm going to select column B, which is where the combined name is. I'm going to go up to Data, over to Text to Columns, and check to be sure that it's delimited. If it says delimited, click Next. The delimiter here is the comma. So we'll check the box for comma, uncheck Tab, click Finish. There's already data here. Do you want to replace it? Yes, we do. And there we go. We've now separated surnames and given names. This column is likely completely superfluous to our operation here. Just to be sure there's nothing in this column, I'm going to hold down Control, hit the down arrow, and it goes all the way to the bottom of the spreadsheet. I'll hit the Control up arrow, and I'm back up where I was. This is indeed an entirely blank column. I can delete it. Click at the top on the bar, right click on the blank space, if you will, and left click on Delete, and the column is gone. One more thing I want to do here, just as we did over here with the occupations, I want to change the case. We're going to be importing these into the Find It searchable database at some point. We want to capitalize all of these surnames. In other words, convert them to all caps. To do that, simply select them. I think before that, I'm going to insert a couple of blank spaces again here. There. Actually, the easiest way to do this is to use the upper command. And that lander is in B1, the first cell in the column. Hit enter, and there's lander in all caps. Just like we did with occupations, we'll select it and copy it down, or select down that whole column. We're going to go back to select Home and Fill Down. Before we leave, as before, we put Control-C to copy. Go back to the home position. Click in Lander. Right-click. Left-click on Paste Special. Right-click for values. Left-click. I hope I said left-click on Paste Values. And now we've pasted them in. Select the column and delete the old column. This is probably, again, a blank. We'll hit Control down arrow all the way to the bottom, Control arrow all the way to the top. It is completely blank. Nothing stopped it. Select it, right-click, delete the column, and now we've changed all of the surnames to all caps. The only change in here that has to be made after this is to check some of these ones that maybe are Scottish, like McClintock, McDonald, and so on, and make the first C a small one. We see we have McClintock here, and that appears to be the only one. Now, the only remaining editing here, or proofreading necessary, is to look for spelling mistakes, and occasionally ones do creep in. A common one is Picton, converted to something like piston, or something like something along those lines. Anyway, you can find them. We're going to save this with a slightly altered file name so it doesn't overwrite what we already have. And we're done.